All right, gang. How's everybody doing today?
I'm doing alright. Life is good.
You guys want to start off talking about the new busted champion?
Yeah,
Galio.
The old promotion? Yeah, that champion is busted.
It's too good, man.
Are you talking about Tristana?
Yeah.
Bro,
Oh, yeah,
the
she's got
Tristana
released,
decks are
didn't she?
hot.
I'm so glad they released Tristana this patch, actually. It's really nice.
It's really nice.
Solid.
I was playing that deck. I played like 3 games of it, and I was like, this deck sucks. I didn't win a single game. It wasn't even remotely close.
That's what
and it's
I
because
tried too.
no, but then I realized at the end that I never drew any card that generated another card. Like throughout the entire 3 games, no mayors,
yeah.
no telescopes, none of the new card that makes like the stupid owl guy, like none of those. So I would just play like dinky 2-mana guys, and then my Yordle in Arms was never turned on. I was like, this deck sucks, man. I don't want to play this shit.
So you wanted to talk about Gnar, right?
We could start off with Gnar if we want to, yeah.
He's okay.
Big topic.
I just wanted to make the Galio joke, honestly.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm right there with you. Galio is a joke.
So officially, who's the worst champion? Like, is it Udyr or it's
Yumi.
Not Yumi?
I think it's
It's
Yumi.
Yumi.
Yumi's so
Probably
bad.
Yugi.
Yeah, he's pretty awkward, not gonna lie.
Mhm.
All the non-Gnar champions are pretty bad.
Galio
What do you
being the
mean?
closest, I think, to like
Yeah,
playable.
Galio's close.
Yeah,
Who's
Galio's
held
like
up-
you play him and then you die pretty much every time.
Yeah, I
don't
mean his
know.
like
Doesn't matter.
supporting cards are really good. Like
Oh,
Yeah,
Broadwing is so
is
good.
the second best champion this patch.
Yeah.
Not even that,
That's-
like
yeah.
Shielded Durant and then
Shielded
Durant
Durant's good.
Prodigy.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Two mana
All solid
3/3
cards.
challenger does not suck.
Yeah, even the new Dragon's not bad. The 06.
Mm.
That
Yeah,
card's
no,
not
you know
bad.
what's-
it's pretty
You know what's
decent.
really nuts is giving the 06 quick attack, and then every time it kills something, it just gains 2 attack. It's kind of insane.
I just like to put Zenith Blade on it and just kill people.
That's also an option. I
It's
guess.
alright, I guess. Yeah.
Killing people is nah.
Was it?
That's
It's
waste of time.
kind of insecure.
Yeah,
Yeah. Gnar's
but no.
the thing
Okay.
right now, right? Like, I'm
Nice everywhere.
struggling because I have to make a new video every day to find new decks that aren't
Things
just
that don't
Gnar.
have Gnar.
The
Yeah.
only decks that aren't Gnar are not new decks, or they're like
Right.
some version of Demacia / Bandle Cheese, right?
I mean, if it's a 4 video, like there's a couple like Scargrounds, Udyr, or
I did that
Braum.
one.
he
yeah.
did that one.
I did that one.
Did you play the Terminalist with
Yeah.
Tom Kench?
Yeah. Yep. We
Oh,
never drew
okay.
Udyr once in the entire video, and I still posted it.
no.
Ah.
You hit the
I
right
can tell
half.
you,
That's the
other
better half.
players do in fact draw Udyr, Scargrounds, and Braum every game.
Yeah.
Or, is it Braum? No,
It was
no,
Tom. It was Tom Kench. Yeah, it was like
Tom Kench,
Udyr,
yeah.
Isn't
Scargrounds, and Tom
Isn't that
Kench,
deck
and like
really good when
the
you
supporting
get it,
stuff.
Multiple.
Yeah, no, the
and
deck is
multiple
actually
copies of
decent.
each.
And we were like, damn, is this deck for real?
You just need to do that with like no actual draw support, and just naturally draw them every
Yeah,
day,
just
like every
hits.
time on curve, possibly.
Just hit.
I think it's
Mhm.
good.
Just play against decks with no win condition.
That'll work,
Wait.
yeah. That'll work.
Who would do
No,
that though?
We don't know any decks like that, though, right?
No,
No.
no,
No.
no.
Yeah, Gnar's kind of dummy. He's just like, he's very strong. I mean, he's new Poppy, right? He's just very strong, and you can put him in everything, is the thing.
Do you think he's as broken as Poppy was?
No.
No.
Not even close.
Not even a little
Okay.
bit. I don't even think Gnar's broken. I just think he's like
Oh, I
a
think
very
he's
good,
very
he's a top
solid.
5 champion, and you can put him in
Top
everything.
3.
You think he's top 3? He might be top 3.
Yeah.
He's
I mean,
pretty
it
good.
feels it's not like new Poppy. I don't think he's actually broken, even if you could argue otherwise. Like, it's very close to be if it's not broken.
Mhm.
It's more like new Draven, right? There's basically, if you're playing in his color combinations,
There's no
basically
reason not to
no
play
reason
him.
not to include him. And his color combination are 1 more color than Draven, so you're gonna see him twice as much.
Yep.
Well,
And
let's be honest. The other color's Freljord, so like it's basically only one.
I've
It's
seen-
1
I've
and a
seen
half,
Freljord,
okay?
There are Freljord decks.
I've
okay?
seen Trundle Gnar, and it actually felt solid. Like,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
just
Yeah.
like fits in all of them.
I mean-
he generates card advantage. He's hard to block. He's a small removal spell and potentially a big removal spell. It's just a really, really good card. You're gonna put it in everything.
Right.
And
I thought
that-
actually what's like really interesting is like I think there's even like more room for Gnar to be more broken, because like a lot of people are just like playing Gnar on 4 or Gnar on 5 and then just flipping him whenever they want. But what if you just like held him in hand, and then as soon as they play something big, you play your Gnar and then you make him vulnerable and you kill him? Like,
That is generally
that
how I
seems
use Gnar. Yeah.
pretty
Oh,
unfair.
did you guys know that you can tell when you or your opponent has Gnar in hand? Like the level up proc shows.
Right, they're gonna
damage.
fix that.
Wait,
right?
well, I didn't know that. Explain that to me.
Oh,
So like, you know, when your champion like levels or like progresses level up. in the
Yeah, I
bottom
see.
left,
I see Gnar pop on
icon.
the Nexus every time like I take damage or like I deal damage and I'm playing
Exactly,
Gnar.
and then that's when they have it in hand.
So if it doesn't pop up on the Nexus when I get dealt damage, they don't have Gnar in hand.
Wait,
Correct.
here's my question. So I know it only shows up, like, in my view, when I have Gnar in hand. Does it also work for the opponent? Like, are we certain?
I think that's what he's saying. Yeah.
That
That's
is
really
wild.
wild.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's pretty crazy.
But yeah, no, Gnar pretty good. The other thing that I like, the other transform card, like the Toad. I don't think the Toad's good, but you could like hold your opponent's board hostage by like just not activating it, right?
Hmm.
It's like a red card at some point that they kind of have to play around and they can't really like develop into sometimes.
That's true.
Toad is good in Swain, like Gnar Swain.
It's all
It's
right.
not bad.
The deck seems playable.
The deck is playable. I think Toad's actually one of the worst cards in the deck.
Yeah.
Teeny Dactyl's cracked in that deck though. Like it's so good there.
Oh yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
It's like a mini
Mini
Leviathan.
Leviathan.
Leviathan, yeah.
Hmm. It's also gigantic.
It's as big as the fucking Leviathan.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the one thing you get about the Toad though is like the stats are nuts. Like a 6/7 is just like you can't attack through it, but it's just not as good as some of the other cards. I feel like it hasn't felt as impactful. Like the more efficient cards in Swain are really important, right? The mana efficiency is really important because your deck is so like resource intensive, and then it's not ever going to take the spot of some of the bigger, like, you know, the big cost to reserve for like Minimorph maybe, or like Leviathan, Swain. It's hard to slam some other things in there.
Yeah, I mean, Swain has trouble dropping Swain, right?
Yeah.
Like, and if you're just dropping the fucking frog, like, I don't know. It's a lot of mana.
To be fair, on one hand, like, Frog is a lot of mana, but on the other hand, Swain is always kind of looking for things to do between turns 5 and 8, and I don't actually mind having another 5-drop. I don't think it's actually that bad.
You very often just play go, just play removals, like a true control mid-range kind of pile. Like sometimes it's awkward that you don't have plays and you don't want to drop Swain until like it's flipped. And like, I think other plays is okay.
Does the Toad pop Spell Shield?
No, it goes
No.
through.
No, it should go through.
Dang.
That'd be pretty
Yeah.
good if it did. Speaking of Spell Shield, one of the front runners I feel like for best ladder deck
Ooh.
currently is the Paper Gnario. Shout
Yep.
out Jordan.
I'm just not allowed to name my decks anymore.
That's the best name, bro. Paper Gnario is
good.
such a good name.
Yeah,
Paper
you guys
what?
just name
Yeah.
decks so much better than I do.
The
I'm
Papercraft
just not
Dragon
Paper
Gnar deck
Gnario.
is referred to
Like
as Paper Gnario.
but Gnar.
Yeah, that's the
It's so good, right? Yeah,
fire.
it's so good.
I mean, that's how Darkodius came up in the scene, right? Just naming Jordan's decks.
I think so. Yeah, he made a name for himself.
The
named
It's
after
not
it.
a pipeline to be known on Twitter. Just like taking one of my brews and giving them
Yeah.
names.
That deck's kind of nuts. Like,
It's
No,
okay.
it's a fun one. It has a bunch of
It's
different
pretty
lines
insane.
that you get to run with, and it does some very cool things in basically all of those lines. So I've been having a lot of fun with it. I've basically lost all the LP I gained with it playing other decks, but you know the deck is cracked.
Yeah.
I'm still.
No, it's
playing.
definitely really, really, really good.
We've talked about that, but like the play patterns really felt good to me because it felt like we always been saying that Lee Sin is like a control deck, like a control combo deck, where this feels like an aggro combo deck. Like you still have the combo elements and things that are hard to interact with, and sometimes
Yeah.
it is your primary win condition. But you're still playing Gnar, 1-drops, 2-drops, vulnerable things like Akshan, like just good cards. Like I killed people with just Absolver, Akshan, and like random units. And
Right.
it's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah. It feels like you have a lot to do that isn't just your combo. Like I was looking at the deck before. I was like, wow, this is just like this degenerate combo deck, but it's really not. Like there's a lot the deck does that is just really, really powerful, and you're able to run like these consistency enablers for your combo pieces, like the Ancient Chronomancer and the
Mhm.
Akshan, and you just have like a good game all around. Like you play a decent value game with like Gnar and Akshan are on their own really good value units because you're getting the pokey sticks, and Akshan is like +3 cards every time he's played or something like that, which is kind of silly. But yeah, I don't know. Deck's really good.
It's such a weird deck, and that like I haven't played much of it. I played like a few games of it, but I've watched a lot of like Jordan play it. And every time I watch Jordan play it, I'm like, holy shit, this is actually like a 5-head deck. That's like really difficult. You're like playing on the razor's edge. And I watched Henneke play it today, and he just like fucking grieved at every single street and like still won.
Okay, but I
like,
still
wait,
won,
is this
right?
broken?
Right? I still won.
Yeah, that's why
I
I'm
don't
like,
need to play my
I
random
wasn't
negation.
convinced on the deck's power until I watched Henneke just fucking grief every game.
Still win,
Still
yeah.
win. I'm like, okay, this is good.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I had no idea what I was doing.
I have been very consistently impressed, and Nada pointed this out in chat, with Wallop is the card's name, Gnar's champ spell.
Yeah.
Like both in and out of Gnar's champ spell. Just like the card in general, Wallop, I think is very good.
Turns out concussive
3 mana
bomb is
stun a
good.
unit. Yeah, 3 mana stun a unit does okay.
Like fast speed, yeah. And you're just normally, that's not something you have to consider at fast speed, right? The only time that happens is like Ionia and Palm. And then all of a sudden you're attacking and they could just stun your guy out of combat and you're like, oh, that ruined my whole plan. I don't like that at all. It's very good.
It's kind of like Steel Tempest, but you know,
Good.
usable.
Yeah.
And you can use it offensively too. It's insane.
That is the best part, is using it offensively. Yeah. Like so many times you use the tag with Gnar and then dink their unit out of the way and club them for 6 and you're like, yeah, that was fun. GG, my friend. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
No, Wallop is like super good, and I think that's one of like, Gnar has so many good things going for him. It's kind of insane to me that he also has just like a great champion spell. Like, I don't think you're ever upset double drawing Gnar. Like, it's just always
Yeah.
good.
Everything is good about
Everything's
it. Like,
good
Yeah,
about
Yeah,
Gnar.
no, he's
yeah.
really good.
like,
Except he loses health when he transforms. What
Yeah,
the
that
fuck
part
is that?
is so unintuitive.
That's a little weird. I'm not gonna lie.
Because nothing else in the game does that,
It's
right? It'll
just
keep
him.
the
And
amount, and then it
I'm not
just
saying
stays
it's like
there.
not balanced, right? Like it's fine. He's obviously already a broken card. It's fine to do other things to him, but it's just weird.
Yeah.
I wish they would normalize it and then just like get rid of quick attack on Mega Gnar. Like quick attack on leveled Gnar is like ridiculous. He doesn't need to have quick attack. But like if they let him heal in between states, then I think that'd be, you know,
I
a
can agree with
reasonable.
that. I think the
trade,
first
but,
change
you know.
will probably be a 3/3. They'll just take a point of power away. I think that'll be the first change.
I don't like that.
I don't think it's enough.
I'm fine with
It
either,
would still be
actually.
playable. I
Yeah,
think
he's
it's
still
fine.
good.
Like small tweaks like that, if you want to do tweaks on him. Like
Mhm.
it's the most obvious one is making like pokey stick if you don't have it like fleeting or giving him 3 attack. I don't want him to do too much on him. Maybe hit a couple like of the Bandle package around it that just feels like it's popping off everywhere, not just in Gnar deck right now. There's like Fade decks right now that looks playable, looks pretty good. Like maybe Bandle is slightly overtuned. We've had that conversation before with Shurima's when Runeterra was a 6/4, Nurse Death Hunter was a 4/3, and
Dark
other
Times.
stuff.
Yeah,
Dark
all the
Times,
cards
very
were
dark
just
times.
too
They were just
good.
better than everything else you could be doing. Yeah.
Like make Concologist a 2/1, for example, like something like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
The thing that really
Well,
killed me
guys,
is I was playing like FTR on ladder for some reason. I hate Freljord SI, but I was playing on ladder. It's like a redeem or something.
Sure.
And I ran into like it was Ziggs Gnar, right? It's just the burn deck, but they're just playing huge fucking units at every single turn. Like, you know, they play like stone stackers into like Ziggs into like the pterodactyl. It's like, how the fuck do I kill anything here?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Bandle units are just so fucking big. It's crazy.
While being so fucking small and like swarming.
Yeah. What the
board.
hell?
Like,
Like, yeah, and they swarm better than every other region too. You're like,
Well, even the swarm. So, like you had mentioned the Fae stuff. I've been playing some Fae. I've been watching like Swim play some Fae and Mo play some Fae. Lantern's broken. But like with the Fae aid card, like the owl cats that are coming out on like turn 4 are like 4/3s and like 5/3s and like fucking huge. Like everything in Bandle is just huge for some reason.
Yeah, I was playing the Tristana Swarm version, like not the attached combo one, but like just the massive amounts of owl cats, and you played 5/1 impact owl cats. Like, what the hell is that? This guy played Trundle, I played 3 5/1s, and then he just trades into one of them and gets pokey sticked. What the hell is that?
Disaster.
And they have spell shield.
And we have
And they have
spells.
And they have spell shield, by the way. Very cool.
Them having spell shields actually like really huge.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Like
control
before
decks
this
just
patch,
cry.
before this patch it like didn't matter, but like on this patch with like all the support to like the Owlcat like go wide strategy, it's like actually really strong. Yeah, I think there's a Broken Lantern deck out there somewhere.
Yeah, and it's actually kind of cool that we're a little bit more than 1 week in now, and not everything is like figured out. Like we're still have, but like last time we figured out AK was broken. We didn't figure out like the SI version was the best one. Like at this point we were still on the Sharima's one. Nobody was like on sign-in, and now like there's Fade decks popping up. There's like different Gnar decks. Nobody is sure which one is the best one for like a tournament. The answer is probably all of them. And I don't know, we're a couple days in and nothing seems figured out yet. Yesterday I saw like lots of PNZ decks on ladder, like Master Ladder, where killing Gnar is just like a good spot to be right now. So if you're like playing 3-mana removal spell, it's not bad. I've seen as Draven out of all decks that actually like farmed me for 2 games, and I do not want to admit it, but they did.
Pushby says just play sign in on Fadex, and that sounds like so awesome, actually.
Sure.
I mean, you definitely can.
I just
I've
wanna
been
play
playing
Sign
like
In.
an Ionia Fade deck that
Mhm.
like I don't know, maybe sign in's the way to go.
Toss in sign in, maybe some seedlings.
Slower swarm and just jam sign in and
Right
then
now that's
kill
talking
them.
my language.
Just sign in and just like spam out these huge Owlcats and just like wear your opponent down because they just can't deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, like if you play sign in, you draw two cards. One's a grandfather fade, one's a telescope. You have 4 units off of the one, like
It's pretty decent.
Stop
sign in
it.
right?
And you probably
Like,
have a
that's pretty
lantern on play,
stupid.
so you just get to play one of them for free.
I know.
Oh my god.
Okay,
The other
now that's exciting.
the other broken card, like I think Fey 8 is really good. It's the 3-mana burst. You generate an Owlcat and then buff every single Fey card in your hand, right? But the other card that's insane is like the Fey Sprout.
Oh, that
The
card's
1-mana
bonkers.
generate
It's so
a Fey
good.
unit.
Yeah.
And
I
like
did,
with the
I did
plus
not
one
trade
plus
it
one.
high, and I'm surprised because
It's
it's been
very
a
good.
house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like earlier I played like, you know, like a fucking 6/4 Tasty Fey Folk on curve with quick attack. And it's like, what the fuck? Why is this a thing right now? I don't get it.
And Ada asked, how do we feel about Bandle Tree right now? And I have a bit of a bone to pick with Bandle Tree right now,
Ooh.
because whether I
Take it
win
away.
or lose to Bandle Tree, generally right now has nothing to do with what I do. Like there's a couple spots where it's like, okay, maybe I could have gone all in on a different unit. Maybe I could have said, if you have this card, you have this card, and just like ripped it and shipped it. But like, I don't know, a lot of the slower decks, like you just play against them, and they play Tree on 7 or 8, and they're on 8 or 9, and you're like,
Yeah.
while also whooping your ass on board, because the units are so good. Like, you know, they still have Gnar, Poppy, Mayor, Telescope, all these really, really, really good cards that are just going to generate like houses. Not to mention Aloof Travelers, which is really underrated, I think, at the moment, and just has been for a bit.
Bandle Tree feels very Hearthstone.
I would say it
Yeah.
was very properly rated for quite some time. Aloof is a pretty busted card.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, but post nerf it fell off. People stopped playing it, and
Sure.
I still
I think-
love that card.
People stop like jamming it into every single deck possible, right?
Yeah.
But like the decks that are still playing it, I've been playing it the whole time.
Mhm.
I have like a fundamental issue with Tree. I hate the way that they don't have to care about the game state and don't have to care about their board at all. They just like vomit out units, and they never run out of units because they run,
Yeah.
you know, Bandle.
Mhm.
So they just like chump block forever, and then they never have to attack if they don't want to. They don't have to care about the board state, and eventually, like they're just always putting forward their win condition, right?
They don't
Um,
even have to block properly. They just like put something in front of something and they're fine.
They don't
so
have to do
stupid.
anything. They don't have to
Yeah.
engage with the game at all to further their win condition, right? So the onus is 100% on you to somehow kill them, like through Buster Shot, through Pokey Stick, through Scorched Earth, through Mini Morph, through every single chump blocker in the entire fucking game, and you have to kill them before turn 8. Like I think that this is like a fundamentally broken deck that I fucking hate.
I have never been as miserable playing against a deck, except for like Azirelia. Like every time I see Bandle Tree, I'm like, fucking god damn it, because it feels like I'm playing solitaire against a timer. But like some decks, you're like, oh, okay, tree. I'm gonna do my thing, and I'm gonna try to kill them before like turn 9, and that's okay. But like you said, like some decks, if I don't have a way to like double strike my elusive unit, make a gigantic ass fucking Pantheon, and do something that's like not inherently also weak to Scorched Earth or Minimorph, my deck doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter what I'm doing. They're just gonna put guys in front of my guys, and the game's gonna end on turn 9 if they draw a tree. And there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah, like there are decks that beat it, right? And like sometimes they just don't draw a tree. But I feel like a lot of the times, whether or not you win doesn't really matter on your draw. It's like, did they hit tree? You know, did they like drop tree on like turn 6? You know, at 8 out of 10. Sometimes they do, and it's like, oh fuck me. There are definitely decks that beat it, but I just fundamentally despise the deck, and I hate playing against it.
Even if the deck was like 42% win rate and not even like a good tournament pick, which right now it's like a nuts tournament pick, I think. Even if it wasn't that, I do not like this kind of thing in the game because it's so incredibly polarized in like not a good way. Right? Like I queue into this deck, I don't really get to play the game, you know what I mean? And then I lose, and that feels bad. Or I'm playing it and I beat my opponent just because they don't have Lanark removal, and I drew my card. I don't know, it feels shitty, man. It just feels bad.
Yeah. And all the random generation stuff.
And all the random generation. And they never run out of cards. Yeah.
I'm not quite on iCattle's level, where I don't think the deck is like bonkers, but the counterplay is very minimal, and it does fumble on itself a little bit, but way less now that they have Gnar as just like a solid all-around card. And it is probably one of the top tournament picks right now. But I don't know, it feels bad, but what would you touch in the deck? Would you want to kill the deck is the problem? Like, just like nerfing Gnar, like the deck existed before, it's going to exist after. And yeah,
I think tree needs to be at least 6 mana. You should not be able to play 2 in a turn, and you should like genuinely be punished for dropping it.
If bounce and things like, have you ever like played an entire game where you're like playing around tree, they drop tree, it's 10 out of 10, you comment it, and then they just play another tree, and you're like, dope. Like
I have done that. Yes.
Yeah, it sucks. So I think 6 mana is a good spot, and I think you just have to be very careful with things like this, because the biggest problem, honestly, lays in like the Bandle region, and how it works is like they just never run out of cards. They can chump block with half a board every single turn and still outcard you. And that's the ridiculous part.
The other thing you could do is hit House Spider. I think House Spider. I don't like House Spider.
Move House Spider to Shadow Isles.
Oh,
Shadow Isles.
I don't know about
that. Seems.
But if you made it like a 2/1 or a 1/2,
something else.
I saw the worst suggestion I've ever seen in my life on Reddit, and that's saying something because it's Reddit. But like. So someone was whining about tree, which, you know, makes sense because I whine about tree. But an upvoted comment by like a large margin, like the most upvoted reply, was someone's suggestion to fix tree was to make it a 1-mana landmark that has to see all 10 regions, but it still generates a card every turn for them. And I was like, bro, are you out of your fucking mind? A 1-mana landmark, draw a unit every turn, and a win condition?
Oh no!
And people were like, "What a great idea!" I'm like, "Are you joking?"
But honestly, I think that would be okay. So I'm not saying I think this is a good idea, okay? But I think that makes it so that any game where you don't draw a tree in your opening hand, the card is awful. Like, am I wrong?
I just don't let it give you a free card every turn.
I think now you get like a lurk effect where the deck win rate is like 48% when you don't draw 3 on 1, and when you have 3 on 1, it's like 80% or something. You draw like 2. You have a fair action arena, like you draw 2 cards per turn.
Yeah, you're
for
way
1
ahead
mana.
50% of the game, and then you're way behind 50% of games. Really
lurk.
fun.
Let's go.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Something I want to touch on.
It's not a good plan.
Like compared to like other win the game landmarks like Starspring, I have less of an issue with Starspring. I think Starspring is sometimes like ultra uninteractable and fucking stupid, but at least they have to care about their units. Yes. At least they have to care about the board state. At least they run out of cards if they don't flip Soraka, right? But like, and if you comment a fucking Starspring or you homecoming a Starspring, like they're really fucking hurt by that. If they don't have Starspring by like turn 5, like you're so far ahead. At least they have to care about the board state, and at least you can like set them back on their landmark.
Would you say you had a problem with Fiora when she was good, like as like an alternate
Yes.
win condition that was
I didn't
kind of hard to interact with?
actually.
I
Because
don't like Fiora.
It get like
Fiora
I don't
dies,
like
so it's
Fiora, but I didn't
URL,
have
you
the same
could-
problem with it. Because like I could interact with my own stuff, I could interact with Fiora. Like there was things to do here. Whereas like a lot of times against Tree, nothing I do matters. I play my dudes,
Yeah.
they block, they vomit out 14 more dudes, and I die.
I mean, it comes down to like how the game is fundamentally designed around landmarks, and the way that's designed is that there's like one way in the game to protect them, and there's like one viable way in the game to remove them. So like there's no like actual way to play around a completely landmark centric thing. And Starspring is interesting because yes, they have to protect their units, and you're able to interact over the board, which is like what so much of this game is about. In every case, except against this damn Bandle Tree deck.
And the other issue
So-
with Bandle is like, even if we could somehow deal with the landmark, which would help out a lot, it's still just a Bandle swarm deck that is
Yeah.
just beating your ass the entire
Well,
time,
yeah.
right?
That's a whole other thing.
With like the most efficient removal in the entire fucking game. With like Buster Shot that's active on turn 3, they run Pokey Stick,
Every
they
time.
run
Group shot,
Flock.
flock, scorched.
Fuck
Yeah,
me.
I just don't like the deck, man.
Would Bandle Tree be a good deck without Bandle Tree?
What? Excuse me?
What I'm asking.
Yes.
You would
Like
change
basically
some
just
things.
Bandle.
You would
Bandle
change
swarms
You would need a-
with Noxus.
You need another win condition, but
Yeah, Poppy is just not reliable enough of a win condition, and you just become like a swarm board. And if people just are running a couple things with that, you just
Yeah.
don't really win anymore.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you
I
could
think-
just run like a
I think maybe
mid-range
like
version
a-
of like the burn deck, right?
Or
That's
just
what it would
swap
turn
Tree
into.
for
Yeah.
3 Yordle arms, and I bet
yeah,
you have
would it
like
just
48%
become
win rate.
like your
It's almost like there's like two other decks in that exact same region.
Yeah.
That's combo.
Sorry, go ahead,
Uh,
Jason.
I think maybe like an interesting thing, like for as many ways of like how you get Tree to proc, maybe like you have ways of like what's it like making the tree progress go backwards in a way. I don't know how it'd be, but like maybe it's something to do with like playing your own units of some sort. Could be kind of interesting, just like being able to slow down their own game plan. It's like right now, like it doesn't have to be something that like just kills Tree or like fundamentally changes how it works. Like having
Okay.
some sort of counterplay could be kind of interesting.
I'm down to just
I don't
make
know
it
what
8
it look
mana
like.
and never see it again.
I could be all right with that. I do
Damn.
think like I still think
I
the
could also
biggest
do
problem is the Bandle swarm part. I think Bandle has issues. I think Bandle City's too good. It does so many things way better than everything else, which is not how regions are really supposed to. It's suffering from Shurima problems right now, but it's more flexible than Shurima was. Even after like many rounds of nerfs. And yeah, like I think it's a little too good. Like if we were talking about Starspring or something, because I don't think this, a lot of people might not like this. I don't think alternate win conditions are bad in any sense of the word. I don't love them. I don't think they're bad. I don't hate Starspring at all, but I do hate Tree because Tree ignores what I'm doing. Like we were saying, Starsprings has to interact and they have to care. But like if the Targon Bilgewater Starsprings package was just so fucking busted and they never ran out of cards, we'd be having the same conversation with the same thing, right? And I really think that it's Bandles that is the main problem. Yeah, I fucking hate Tree. At least put it at 6 mana. But like I think Bandle's the main problem of Bandle Tree, not the tree.
yeah, sure, that's fair.
Probably. I mean, Mayor's still a really good card, right?
Mayor, Telescope, yeah, all the stuff.
All right.
I mean, here's the way I look at it, right? Like, I don't really like alternate win conditions that much, but I know there are a lot of players out there who do and enjoy having those kind of decks. And there are plenty of people who would look at what we play and say, "Isn't Lee Sin an alternate win condition?"
I was gonna talk
so
about that. Yeah,
I can't really, I can't really shit on it that
I'm
much,
fine with
right?
alternate win.
I think probably it needs a small nerf, like it's a little overtuned right now, but it's not like Lee Sin or Star Shaping Atro is
Well,
any different.
I'm down to talk
right?
about Lee because I think Lee's an issue.
Yeah, once Lee
Again,
getting nerfed.
I've been
Yo,
down for
because of
Lee to get
Lee.
nerfed for a while now. Like,
Literally not because of Lee. My issue with Lee is that they run 6 copies of Eye of the Dragon and draw 30 fucking cards per
nuh-uh. No, we don't.
Five.
We run
Five.
5.
yeah.
You're wrong.
I'm a
you should
gentleman
run
in a
We
Scholars.
cut one.
No,
I got
like,
punished so hard for having 5.
That was a poor choice.
No,
Like,
I
once
still
again-
actually I still vehemently defend Two Eyes of the Dragon.
That's okay. You're allowed to be
I
wrong.
understand
That's
why
fair.
you're on 2i, but like it feels a lot like Tree in terms of a lot of times they don't care what's happening on the board, right? Like turns 1 through like 4, because they're just gonna heal a shit ton back, and it's really obnoxious.
I feel that.
But I'm like the one person in
Sure.
Call It doesn't play League, right? So
I have like I think the gifts eye interaction is too good. It's too good. Are you making
Yeah.
fun of my hand?
Yes.
My hand gestures. Yeah, the gifts eye interaction is like a little too good. I don't care if you nerf it. I don't care if you nerf Lee. Then I get to play Zoe and other stuff. But like, I just really wish I could play Targon the way Targon was meant to be played. There hasn't been a viable outside of WhatAmI invoke deck in so long.
Speaking of which, like you won the tournament yesterday,
Awesome.
Jordans, and playing FTR in your Trash Assault deck, and how do they feel? Just like run through the
The
competition,
tournament
like no
yesterday,
Gnar deck
like-
in your tournament lineup is interesting.
That was such a weird fucking run because I went 2-2, thought I was out, got into the top 8 because we only had 20 people, and then was able to bring it back. So I honestly don't even fucking know what I was doing with that tournament.
Okay. That's fair.
As far as did the decks do what they're supposed to, I mean, yeah, somebody shows up with aggro or mid range, and I will just completely trash them with that lineup, right? But I think that as far as it goes, when people start showing up with, as you guys are talking about, Tree,
Yeah.
then I'm gonna be in some serious fucking trouble, right? Because Tree just thrashes me.
And I mean,
I-
something like Paper Gnario,
Tree,
Bandle
yes.
Tree, and then some other deck is going to be like a realistic lineup that's really, really dangerous. For,
TF Nami?
I think one more
Yeah,
one more
Nami
thing on
is
Tree
maybe the one
before
I
we
was
kind
thinking
of
Go ahead, Jason.
I mean, like Twisted Fate and like
like
you
one
know,
more thing on
Nami?
Tree, like I think going back to like seasonals, you know, when I forgot who exactly was on the triple tree lineup, like he only had
Lazy
one
Guga.
good tree in that lineup, right? Like the other two regions were just like meh. Like Tree is definitely getting propped up by Noxus as a region combination, whether that be House Spiders, Flock, or whatever. But like when you see like Tree's power level being like decreases slightly because of like different cards, the deck becomes a lot worse.
It definitely gets a lot
Yeah.
worse. Yeah.
Definitely
Yeah,
worse,
I'd
but
agree.
like only in its like bad matchups, right? Like it still crushes.
It's
the
still just
matchups it's
dumpsters
winning.
darkness.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
So dumpers,
I'll
dumpsters.
let you know
lead.
I'm 4-0 with Lee Sin against Tree since the past 2 days.
I mean, Kev's just fucking insane,
Kev's just
right?
nuts though. Yeah, it doesn't
Kev
count.
has never lost a game at least in his entire fucking
That
life.
is
it
not
just hasn't
true.
happened.
That is the report I always hear. Is like I can treat 70% of the time, darkness 70% of the time. I'm like, oh, okay.
You
man.
just can't listen to him about least. There's like so every
Goddamn.
player has a deck.
Because you
You
guys
cannot
cannot want
listen
to
to
play
them
your
about
Eyes to
statistics.
the Dragon. The card's trash.
It is actually. I am with him. I really think Eye of the Dragon is like often in most of your matchups like one of the worst cards to draw. But yeah,
Yeah, you
like we
wanna
we
draw
all have a
it.
deck, right? Like Akedo has TF Nami, Kever has like Lee,
That
Wait,
deck's so
but
good.
TF Nami's actually so fucking
No,
good.
Ikato has
So
Shell.
is Lee
and
good.
Shellfolk,
Come
and
on.
so
Like,
it's like
Ikato
yeah, so
has
it's
Like,
like
don't
Shellfolk.
credit him for TF.
Um,
Like he loves the deck, but Shellfolk is his baby.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. But we all have a deck where it's like, how's this matchup? And you're like, oh, it's fucking sick, bro. And then they dumpster you like 4 times. And you're like, wait, I think this is bad. And they're like, no, bro, it's 60-40, I promise. And you look at the stats and it's like 23-77 or something. You're like, wait a second.
Bro, it's just
Trust.
a hard
Just
deck,
trust.
you know.
It's just
People
a
on
hard
ladder
deck.
suck.
TF Nami, I think, is one of the only decks that's
You're just
actually
low
like that.
rolling,
though.
dude.
I'd argue that like Lee Sin also, like if you look at just the stats that you see on stat websites like LOR stats or like Runeterra.ar, they're massively skewed down just because like
Yeah.
just like TF Nami, like
play
if
diff.
people don't
Just
understand the
play diff.
macro plans,
Yeah.
it's just like
I think Lee Sin like
hell.
loses so many points for the average player not knowing how to play super matchups, like super not good matchups. Like the positive matchups, a bad Lee Sin player still dumpsters, but like the kind of rough matchups are where the edges are earned. Like we've thought that Scouts loses to Lee Sin for like so long, and I still think that. I still think Lee Sin beats Scouts.
Well, now it
It
does.
may be
because
different.
White
Yeah,
It may be
since
different with
White
the
Flame
0-3
was-
right now. But
It's true, maybe different with the
White
0-3
Flame
because
did
it threatens Eye. But like, but if you looked at the stats for the last 6 months or something, like Scouts is beating Lee Sin by a factor of 10-15%, like a huge amount.
Yeah.
and a lot of decks have that. I think TF Nami is one of the only decks that average players will even lose the good matchups.
Dude,
Yeah,
TF Nami.
probably.
I was looking at Runeterra AR, right? I'm scrolling all the way down to see what, like TF Nami's stats are looking like. It has like a 43% win rate
It's
overall.
terrible, yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck? I have a
Wow.
70% win rate with this deck. I think this deck is fucking insane. I think it's
Yeah,
actually
Also,
broken.
like, there's just some like at gazillion one tricks roaming
Yeah.
around, and they have like these 70% win rates too. It's like crazy. Just these decks
That one
just
I
really
don't
good.
get. Like, I really don't think that deck is that hard.
I really don't think that deck's good.
That's not exactly the point
Oh,
here.
yeah,
Another
no,
deck I
Maybe
could
we're
piggyback
proving
here.
the point.
I saw in chat someone talk about it. What are you guys' thoughts about timelines? Because that deck has been popping numbers and win rate if you
Yeah.
look at the stats, and it just feels very fucking bad to me. And maybe
feel
I'm
like
bad with it. I don't know.
It's
Every
literally just
time-
like Ice Killer, right? Almost just Ice Killer.
It's Ice Pillar, but the other thing is that the deck has so much early game. It's actually like okay into aggro, and the
Mhm.
freezes make it really good in Gnar. So I don't know if it's like just overall a good deck, but I think this specific meta, it actually has some really solid matchups for ladder.
Yeah.
All I
And
know,
like Bird Nice is insane right now.
all I know is
Why?
that, yeah, Buried Nice
I-
is good. All I know is the
Why?
first time I played against it, my opponent went
Because
concurrent
there's no
timeline.
deny. No one's running deny.
Until they are, then they're
Like,
9-9
Except all the Paper Gnar players,
are.
the future Lee Sin
That's why
players.
it's a meta pick.
So like I think the caveat with this deck is keep in mind this is a deck made by 4LW who makes incredibly good decks, but also can win with anything. And he has made this exact same deck
Every season.
like 5 seasons in a
every
row.
season. Yeah.
And he hits Masters with it, and then nobody else plays it. But this season, it seems kind of good. And the amount of times that people have like, fucking aloofed me into like a Crocolith is kind of ridiculous. And Buried in Ice is
Jesus.
super hard to play around, specifically in this deck, because they can pressure winning the game on the turn that they play it, or like on the next turn, right?
Yeah, because they go
And
pillar
they
and then
get
they
to
can
play-
Buried and Ice you. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
same
they get to
turn.
play a free 8-mana card, right? So like they don't lose board tempo. They get, like their Tiana or some shit, right? And then they Buried in Ice you. And it's
Yeah.
so fucking hard to play around. They just like fork you so often.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's the most played deck right now in the past 2 days. If you
Yeah,
look at
it's
like
really
Runeterra, yeah.
interesting.
Really? Shit.
What's funny is
Impressive.
like this deck has been like a thing for a long time, like ever since Concurrent Timelines has been a thing, and Trundle has been a thing. Like 4LW's been playing this deck at the beginning of every season,
Mhm.
and you gotta really think like what happened this season, this particular season, where this Freljord deck all of a sudden just gets so much better with like the addition of like what new cards, right? Like what
Mm.
particular cards did this deck get
The
to
Rapid
make it a
Champion.
lot better?
Udyr, right?
Yep, it's Udyr, can tell.
Yes,
I
Trundle
think
Trundle
Trundle
Gnar
got buffed this
timelines.
patch, right?
Like we got really
Trundle
good with
got one
Udyr.
health this patch.
Yeah,
That's true.
Trundle got
Last
the one.
patch.
That
We've
is
been
kind of
playing
big
it
though, that
at
one
season
health.
levels.
There's a lot of times where I've like gone to make a play and then realized that my opponent's Trundle had 6 health and went, god damn it. And it's just like I just couldn't do whatever it is.
Especially when you just run Troll Chant, right?
Yeah. I mean, Gnar helps a lot for the deck, but I think the Buried in Ice edition is really big. And I really think Aloof Travelers is like super good right now. I mentioned this before.
Yeah.
I think it's super, super good. And this
Yeah,
version gets to
no,
play
that's
Aloof
fair.
Traveler as a 4/5. Because I swear to God, they hit a 4/5 every single time.
You
It's
mean
always
seven,
Bull
seven,
Elnuk.
yes.
It's
always
It's the
Bull
Elnuk, bro. My opponent went concurrent, aloof, and just rolled 3 Elnuks. And I was like, how? How did you do this?
4/5 that draws you a card and fucks
Mhm.
opponent.
Discards your opponents. Yeah, ridiculous.
It's fucking Elnux or Crocolith, like
Or
every
Crocolith,
time.
man. Yeah.
It's like, bro, come on.
Hunting fleet.
I have
How
no
many more
problems.
drops there is?
I have no problems with the 2 drops or the 3 drops or the 1 drops. It's always that aloof though.
Yeah.
It's just always massive. I
Uh-huh.
don't know why.
And then I've lost to
Variance
that
just way too
8 mana,
high.
like what was that card called?
Oh,
The one that's like
the Freljord.
yeah, that card. I've lost to that card so many times. I'm just like, oh, I'm super safe, and then they flip their pillar into Wrath, and I'm like, never mind.
That card's broken, by the way. We should be main decking it
That's
like every deck.
hilarious.
Which card?
Every Freljord deck should play Wrath of the
It's
Freljord.
that 8/8 boar.
Oh yeah,
Like,
that
I
card
think
is
that
good.
card is actually crazy.
It's actually very good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
It
agree.
seems really awkward. I'm not sure it's not just bad Farron.
You
I
play
don't know.
Vengeance
Okay.
decks. It's different.
Okay, yes, but when you put it that way,
But like I think like any like mid-range style deck, like you know, like your Gnar Sejuani's and like I mean I guess that's like the only one, but like a mid-range style deck that's in Freljord wants to be on Wrath of the Freljord. And I'm not saying like that makes it like a good deck, but like if you're in that style, obviously you're in Freljord, so you're having a bad time, but if you want to play that style, Wrath of the Freljord is a really, really good card.
I also think Mammoth Shaman is like high key underrated.
Yeah.
Like
Mammoth
it flips and
Shaman's-
becomes an 8/8 that just keeps growing.
I
kinda
really
cry.
like the 4/4 that flips into 5/5 and draws a unit, and that's regenerate.
And it's
that card's-
regenerate, yeah.
that card, I love that card. I've only seen it in Udir deck, sadly. So there must be some kind of like third or
Yeah,
mid-range.
honestly, we might have to look into like the the designed archetype of like Gnar plus all the transform units. Maybe Knack Attack, probably not Knack Attack, but like just play those units because it's like when you have Pterodactyl, it's super easy to proc those.
Oh, you're talking
Yeah,
about the
sure.
chief. I was like, what the fuck is Knack
Yeah.
Attack?
Knack
That's
Attack
like
is
the
cheap.
name of his
Yes.
deck already. She's very cool. Deck name.
I think that card's just super awkward to play.
Yeah, I don't think you want to be on that. Like
It's so
to be honest.
expensive.
But like
Which card?
The 3
The
mana
three
change.
mana-
3/3.
But
Oh yeah.
yeah, I don't think
when
it's
you
good.
transform a card, it like gets buffed and healed or something.
just-
It's
it
kind of
doesn't
win
scale on
more,
anything.
but like not even in a way that really makes you win more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a bad captain.
Yeah, but I mean that archetype could be good. I mean not with Knack Attack.
Yeah, no,
like
I
the
totally agree.
chief,
Though.
But
I think a lot of those flip cards are like
those
nuts.
units are really good. Yeah.
If you can find a way to, I mean, you could play Wrath of the Freljord or whatever it is, because you need a way to get them through. If your deck's be based on those units, you need a way to get them through. And Wrath of the Freljord is one way to do that. You could look into an Absolver type strategy, right? Anything like that. You could slap
Right.
the Bandle elusive guy on it. You know, just spitballing here. Any way to like have some form of evasion is important, I think.
Yeah. Wrath seems okay.
I honestly think like maybe Bandle Freljord with the shamans. I obviously haven't tested this, but like Bandle Freljord with the shamans, make it easy to proc, play Pterodactyl and all that sort of stuff, and then you just play your Wrath of the Freljord and you attack them with a Pterodactyl that's 6/5, and they can only block it with I don't know something that's not happy to block that.
Do you want to play like Gnar Sedge or like Timo Gnar?
Yeah, like Narsej.
Narsedge, yeah.
I don't know. Timo Gnar maybe because we already have all like
We
the
have huge cost,
huge
yeah.
units, so
Yeah.
I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
but could be worth looking into.
Yeah,
honest.
definitely.
Yeah, no, the meta is definitely not solved. Like we probably like we know the top 2-3 decks, and like in tournaments, like we know what's good and what's like we maybe we don't know what's not good, but we know what's good in tournaments still, and like, it's not solved. And maybe I'd like to ask you guys for a vibe switch. You guys want to talk about the roadmap?
I do want to talk about the roadmap. I also want to thank Jay Howitzer
I'd
for
like
the 6
to,
months.
but I
Thanks,
haven't
bud.
seen one. What?
But did you
Coming
saw
out in-
the tweet today?
2 days. Yeah.
coming out in 2
days.
days.
It got like I just want to do like a wish list kind of thing because we know that we're gonna finally get it in 2 days, and I've seen the bingo thing on Twitter where somebody just made like a roadmap bingo. It's like
Oh,
there's gonna
that's
be a
great.
typo in it. Or they're
Yeah,
gonna
that
talk
would be meme,
about
Streaming cars.
but like maybe name me 2 things or 1 thing per person that you'd like to see included in the roadmap. I really don't want to get my hopes up. I really think that maybe it's more likely that we get disappointed than not. But I mean, one can hope, I guess.
I am going to start the bar low. I want seasonals and something like worlds. That's all. That's like if we get that at least, I will be content.
What do you mean by you want seasonal?
Well, I mean,
He just wants
there
a
is
confirmation
seasonal.
that they're still happening.
I just don't want them to go away. Well, I want the seasonals tournament, and then I want something that you're like building towards, right? Worlds,
Fair,
whatever you want to
okay,
call
yeah,
it,
yeah.
the pro tournament, whatever you want to call it, right? That's all I want.
It's
Well, I
like
want a lot more than
from
that, but like
particular
that to me
season.
is like the minimum. If you take away those things, I'll be very unhappy.
Unironically, like I don't know if it's just the amount of negativity around like the discourse of, people are just seem to be really, not super optimistic about the roadmap. I think I'm with you in that, like, the base is just, I just don't want to lose anything.
Yeah.
I like seasonals and I like worlds. I don't want to lose those. Ideally we get like one other thing. But I really don't want to lose what we have.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be insane to me if they take something away. Like, that would be absolutely insane to me. Like, how can you respond to someone on Twitter and be like, "Oh, it's gonna come soon," and then you just like completely shit on everything they could possibly want?
But we
Like,
have to
that is the
remember, it's
worst
not just
possible thing.
competitive roadmap, right? It's just the roadmap.
Right? Yeah, yeah.
Just a
I know.
roadmap in general. We're talking it in the, like, a competitive
Yeah.
sense, but like if you have
Sure.
a wish list for something, that's not about competitive. Like just more frequent patches, more like.
Okay.
more updates,
I didn't know
something
this was
more
magical
buffs.
Christmas land.
I don't know.
Christmas land. I'm down to live in magical Christmas land where the patches are more frequent. That sounds like a fun place.
I mean, at
Right,
this
so
point,
that's your wish.
if they come out and say
my
patches are more
wish-
frequent, just no one believes them, right? Like, we're just at that point now.
That's probably true.
Because we've been told
Yeah.
it 6 times and it's never
More
happened.
frequent is like
Yeah.
4 months, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Ionian Forest is very.
So
immense.
I'm like the Riot simp here in that, like, when they say, more frequent patches, like, or there's a patch coming up, I'm like, okay, let's temper expectations, guys. Let's not go too crazy. Let's not expect too much. They're releasing cards at the same time. They probably don't want to nerf everything. But when they were saying, like, we're getting a patch every other month, right? And like, one's gonna be new content and one's gonna be a balance patch. If it's every other month, why is it still 6 weeks in between each one? What's up with that? I don't get that.
Math.
Because like the next patch that we're getting is like the 30th of
Yeah.
next month.
It's in 6 weeks
Wait,
since
what was it, Rick?
the patch before.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's why, again, like, I'm super supportive of Riot. I'm the Riot simp. I will support them to the end. But if it's every other month, why is it every 6 weeks? Months aren't 6 weeks long,
Yeah.
Depending on who you ask. Well,
That's a hard one to argue, buddy. I know.
You got me there.
ask Steam.
Yeah.
Ask Steam. I played Dota for a long time.
6 work weeks is almost a month.
Yeah.
But my personal wish, I would love for there to be an official in-person event.
LAN, yeah.
I was gonna
Yeah,
go
that'd
with
be
that
cool.
too. One thing, like I can't even be like just partnering with like DreamHack or something. Like we've seen somewhat a little bit before, but one like in-person LAN event, and like maybe one in Europe, one in America. I don't know, something or just something more than just seasonal and worlds, like something in between. I guess my wish would be some kind of grassroots supports where give us ways to organize tournament in client, and I think they would pop all the way off to the moon. I would like love that, and we've had like now we have more tournaments than ever, and it still feel a little bit lackluster the support that Riot gives. It just like always comes with external, but I'm not wishing for something super competitive because I don't think it's super viable for them, but just something more than just like seasonal and worlds.
Yeah. Oh, Jordan, what you got?
I mean, I think mine was saying I am down to live in magical Christmas land. I'm
More
not done
patches?
asking for this yet. Like
More patches is good.
I'm here. We will try to patch more often. This is a thing they can do. I believe in them. I'm not done yet.
Yeah, I'd be down with that. My actual wish list of things I'd really like to see, outside of like more competitive support, because like, yeah, I think that's really good and everything, but like, I mean,
I don't think we're getting.
I don't
more
think we're getting
competitive
it.
support.
Yeah.
I just don't think it would be rational decision.
No.
Sadly.
From
Yeah.
Riot, if I'm putting myself in Riot shoes, that is not the decision I would make. It's just not.
Yeah.
And I am a competitive diehard, but like you look at the numbers or whatever, and you're just like, that's just not where it's at. And that's okay. But I don't want them to take away what support from competitive they have given. I think it is an important part of the ecosystem. What I do want to see is I want to see prismatics that aren't boring.
Sure.
I don't like
More
them.
skins?
I don't know. Not even the skins. No, just the prismatics, right? Just give me different kinds of prismatics, different kinds of cosmetics and stuff. You could do really cool stuff, really cool full art versions of these cards, right? Maybe with like a little
Full
bit of
art
an
would be
animation
tight.
effect. That's like really
Oh, yeah.
easy. Well, okay, it's not really easy, but you get what I'm saying. Every single digital card game in existence has done this. I would like to see stuff like that. I want Gauntlet to matter. In any way you want to make it matter. Give me sick ass cosmetics that aren't icons that have been there for 9 months, right? Like first of all, no one cares about icons. You don't even see them.
Yeah.
Just put some sick cosmetic once a month and then change it out. And like I would play Gauntlet. And I don't ever play Gauntlet. I want to see something like that. Let's see. I had one or two more, but I can't think of them. So we're gonna start there.
It's good enough.
I agree.
Place to start.
It feels like there's so much that Riot could do from just like a cosmetic level to really wring us of our money. It feels like there's so many things that they could do that they just aren't doing. And I want to give you my money, Riot. I want cool things to buy. The new skins are really fucking cool. I like those a lot.
The Anivia stuff, the new card backs and everything, the whole arcade thing, huge step in the right direction, and I don't even like that aesthetic.
100%.
Or yeah, battle passes in general, like they could be, I guess, more frequent.
Yeah,
maybe.
I think this one was good though.
They're kind of cool.
Oh,
I like
I
this
love every battle pass. If we
Yeah,
got one
I
like
bought them
once
all.
a month, I don't think that's realistic. But if we did, I'd be super happy with that.
Yeah. I do think cosmetics, like, we knew and they told us, right? Like, they released skins and stuff, and we were like, yo, dog, this ain't really what we want. We kind of want them to be like a little more in depth. We need a little more something. And they were like, okay, we hear you, but we have like 9 months of skins and stuff, and we can't just throw it in the trash. So we will implement that. You're just gonna have to wait a bit. And I think we're seeing that now, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
The other thing,
Yeah,
I
that's
mean, from like a cosmetics level, it's kind of fucked up that they like released the Sentinels board so early in the game's life.
Right.
Because the Sentinel board
We were
is just
talking about
so
this. It's
OP
broken.
that
It's way too good.
It's so hard to power creep it.
It's
so
the
good.
the clicks are so nice.
The
They're so
clicky is so
satisfying.
good.
It's clicky board.
The new board has the clicky on it, but it doesn't have like the same sound. It isn't as like responsive. It
Yeah.
doesn't feel as good. I don't get the dopamine straight to my brain every time I click. So you know, it's hard.
I think KDA board's still a banger. I don't love it's overly purple for me, but if it wasn't for that, I think that would still be a super top tier one for me.
I like clicking the KDA board, but I very much like clicking the Sentinel board.
I feel
you know?
that. Yeah. I also like the
Wouldn't it
glass
just-
shattering sound when it hits. When like you get hit,
yeah.
it makes a really cool sound.
If it's good.
I don't.
I
Hear
didn't say
it
anything I
anymore.
wanted, so I'm gonna say I just want them to confirm we're still getting new cards. That would be really cool. And, like give us like Camille or like Katarina, something we haven't seen before.
Katarina, something I haven't seen before. Nice.
You want to see a Katarina rework in the Ruin map?
That'd be cool, actually. That'd be really cool.
They just,
That'd be
the
something I'd
roadmap
be
comes out
interested
and they're
in.
like, all right, and yeah, all 10 regions are out.
We're done.
See you guys later.
Game's good.
Yeah.
See you guys in Project L.
I just hope it's not only Path of Champions things, where it is very like a very cool mode and arguably maybe even more popular than just normal LOR.
It is more
I don't
popular.
actually know the
We
stats.
saw
I think it is.
The stats,
But-
yeah.
Yeah.
If
really?
it's just like those kind of
Holy
stuff,
crap.
I'll be disheartened.
Me too.
Guys, the Path of Champions
That's
players are just
insane.
building their collection, okay? They're waiting to play
Uh-huh.
Construct
Not so
Opium.
copium.
Half of them are Smurfs.
Yeah, one thing I am incredibly excited about that isn't really coming up on this thing is they're getting rid of expeditions to make room for
Ooh, yeah.
another limited, which is
Right.
Mhm,
super exciting because
We keep
expeditions
getting rid of things.
sucked.
I mean, they suck.
It was bad. Yeah, it was bad. But like, yeah, it's gonna take a year though, a year. But like, bro, could you imagine draft pods? Like that'd be so sick. Just like 8-man queue draft tournaments, whatever. Like,
Yeah,
And,
it's
like,
just like
dual
a
queue
whole other
if
format.
possible.
At some point, like any other card games, LOR will like run into problem where they'll need to diversify their format. It can't just be just standard. Like we have to have something else, be it just stay it constructed and just limit the card pool and rotate cards in and out, or like have a limited portion. So it will come eventually. It just has to come. But yeah, I'm very excited about limited. I think killing expedition, maybe 100% or 100 people worldwide kind of cared about it, and and just now like we're gonna get something. Just it's
it
gonna take a
sucks
long
for
time.
newer players. The one really bad
They
part about
still
killing
have Path of
expedition.
Champions.
Well, we have Path of Champions, but the worst part about killing expedition is it was probably for newer players that bridge between Path of Champions and PvP play. Right? I don't really quite have all the cards. I'd like to try out some stuff.
Yep.
You play expedition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Expeditions was like a really good, like a beginner mode. It was like a not too
That's true.
complex sort of game mode with just like, it was purely like tempo, right? It's like you want to trade 1 for 1 at worst. If you go 2 for 1, you probably lose the game. And it's board focused, tempo based, and not overly complicated.
Yeah.
What I
Very
would
good.
do to replace it is just bring back like the funky gauntlets and give people during those gauntlet events just like you can build any deck you want. You don't have to own the cards.
Mm.
Like maybe bring back Singleton. Maybe bring
That'd
back
be-
like you
that'd
still have
be
like the
cool.
I
normal
don't know.
gauntlet.
you could
I
play.
think
But that's something that like a beginner player could experiment with and just try cards. And
right.
I don't think it would cost them value. Instead, like quite
I
the
just
opposite.
I just think as a new player, it's really daunting to look at the whole collection and being like,
Mhm.
wow, this
Yeah.
look at all this stuff.
I
I don't
agree.
know what to do. And then when you play things like Expedition, like you build this direction, and then you're like, wow, I just played this Gangplank deck. I played a bunch of 100 cards. I played like 6 Jagged Butchers in this deck. That's pretty fun. Maybe I'll craft some of
Mhm.
these cards and play them in ranked. And you can't really do that with but like any format that's not like this draft expedition
Agreed.
style sort of thing.
Okay, yeah.
I agree. I think
So you're
Expedition's
saying you're
cool.
sad to see it go.
Yeah, I am.
I think a lot
Okay.
for new players, especially. I think it makes a lot of sense. Or like it made a lot of sense as a mode, and it's kind of sad that it's going away. But at the same time, if it opens up like support for another game mode that like more people will be interested in, then I'm down, right? In the same way that we lost like a lot of the labs and like the previous lab where you could like go through and like fight Victor and shit, we lost that for Path of Champions. And like Path of Champions is pretty cool and like people enjoy it. So I mean, hopefully we're getting something better, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know.
You
2
can hope.
days.
2 days, not tomorrow.
I
I
mean-
mean, the day after.
The expeditions thing, though, it surprises me because once they announce it, like you get people on Reddit acting like they got their fucking dog shot in front of them. Like, oh my god, I played expeditions every single day for the last 6 months, and I wake up this morning and now I have nothing to play ever. It's like, bro, it's not ending until like May. You have like 3
Yeah.
months to play it. Like, chill,
But
just a little bit.
There's actually
Come
gonna be
on.
a gap, right? Like between when it ends,
Like a huge gap.
and
It's
when
like
there's
a
replacement.
9-month
Yeah,
gap.
there
Yeah.
will be a very big gap.
Which hopefully something will fill in that gap.
I expect
Yeah,
they're
we'll see on the
coming
roadmap.
out with some sort of lab type thing where it's like a limited-esque format, and they're getting rid of expeditions for it. I remember to talk about what you were saying, like people kind of overreacting, like they play it every day. I wake up with my game of expedition. So on Reddit there was this post that got a lot of attention about this guy who made expedition only content, and he did like an expedition run on YouTube or something like every day, or I don't know, but like
I've heard of that guy.
yeah, and he was like one of the winningest expedition players in Runeterra or something like that. Averaged some 100, like 200 views a video or something like that. Because I don't think there's a lot of like want for that kind of content. Maybe I'm wrong, but like that's just kind of what I'm
Kind of
gathering.
Not a good format.
It's not
Sadly.
it's not a good viewable format. But the post blew up and it got a ton of attention, and because the post was about the guy was leaving. He was done. He wasn't going to make expedition videos anymore, right? Because there wasn't the want for them. And so the post blew up. It got so much attention, and the guy got so much support that he came back a week later to no fanfare. Like nobody cared, right? Like I remember like looking at the post, his video on like the day the post went up that did numbers, like his did really well, and then like any of the other videos did terribly, and I just don't think people care about expedition at all.
That's a bummer.
But they
That
think
really
they
sucks.
care about
That's rough.
expedition.
There's a certain handful.
Yeah, there
Right,
are a
like-
few for sure.
I mean, I'm not gonna miss expedition as a player, but I think it's a good like tool for the experience of learning the game.
I
why I'm
totally
gonna-
agree. I 100% agree with you.
I went through that. I played expeditions for like 2 weeks straight at the beginning of allure.
Yep, you
I did too, and then I never touched it again.
Yeah.
It's exactly my
I have like
experience with
80
that.
tokens. Yeah.
When I
rookie
started,
numbers.
I specifically remember like looking up like articles for like tier lists of like expedition decks, which sounds like the dumbest fucking.
Oh, I
thing in
did
the
that
world.
too.
We all
But
did.
I
Well, because we all did it with like
100% was
Hearthstone,
looking
right?
at-
Yeah. Ruby
Like
said
best
would,
champions expedition.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I was like, oh, so Quinn's really good with this. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
When I
Then
started a new card game, that's the first thing I do. Just tell me what's broken, and then like I'll learn the game with.
I'll
like,
go from
what's
there.
broken.
Yeah.
And it was like
I
these
did
like
look expedition.
it was like just these like websites that didn't focus on LR at all, but they just post out one expedition and
God,
have like good
esports,
SEO
yeah.
stuff, and like they just show up and like, whoa, Wow, I'm learning so much.
It's
Y'all
like
laughed
4
at
months
Hearthstone. There's an
old.
arena meta. No, I
it's,
played.
like,
I played
fully
Arena
wrong.
Hearthstone like
Yeah.
so much because there was a value to be gained from it. I was going to get resources, which would get me cards because Hearthstone is so goddamn expensive, and so I would
I
play
did
Hearthstone
Arena.
Arena a lot. I didn't like it. I'd rather
Oh,
play
I loved it.
like just normal constructed, but I'm a constructed gamer, so I can't
Yeah.
like I'm not the intended audience for it. But I liked Hearthstone's Arena way more than I liked Expeditions.
Mhm.
True.
What I'm hearing is that Riot needs to like give us less free shit and make you play Expeditions to get.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing.
Unironically, I think the game would do better if it wasn't so free to play. Straight up, like I 100% believe that.
There's that kind of like addictive tendency
there
to
is.
build your collection that people kind of crave.
Yep, and I crave it. I sit there and I
And-
play
and yet
Runeterra
we
and I
have
have
the best
everything, and I
model
wish I
there
had
is.
something to get. I'm like, God, make me buy
100%.
something. Like I wouldn't buy it. I would grind to get it.
It's
but I
funny.
want to have that.
Yeah.
I want that dopamine rush, man. It's
I'm
progression.
living a Smurf right now. I'm living a Smurf right now, so I played like Expeditions, and like my expedition was like I had like 6 Yordle captains and like 6 Conchologists, and I just played them. Anyways, I won that really easy. But
Oncologist, wrap it up.
but like
boys.
I found as I unboxed, like I got like trash, right? But when I went back to my main and I opened boxes and I just got shards, I was like, yeah. Oh wait, I was like, wait,
Oh,
this doesn't
yeah.
matter.
Uh-huh. That part's
Unironic.
exciting.
Before close and reopen.
Unironically, when I first started playing this game, I played like just ridiculous amounts, and I played a lot because of like the region path, like continually
Yeah.
getting shit, continually
Mm.
getting XP.
Felt so
Like
good.
I played a lot of different game modes and I grinded a lot of different shit just because I wanted the stuff. And then
Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
finished the
Make sure you
region
did all your
roads,
quest every day.
and I like yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh.
once I finished the region road, I like stopped playing for like a week, and I was like, "This is depressing as hell." I'm just playing the game a lot less now.
Before I made
Um,
content.
I would like
Oh, go ahead. You first.
screenshot every weekly capsule just because like I was like, whoa, I got three I was gonna say legendaries, but 3 champions instead of like 1 or 2. Like, oh my god, I got 2 in the same capsule. It's like, oh, I'm sending this to my friend.
I literally
Post
have
it on
friends
Reddit.
that we used to screen cap our weekly vaults together. It'd be like, "Oh, you got 2? I only got 1, bro. You're lucky as fuck. Come on."
Yeah.
Before I was making content, I like finished my collection, kind of. I had everything I wanted, so I didn't craft
Yeah.
Darius or whatever, right? But like, I had everything I wanted, and I just like went through the champions, and there was nothing I wanted left, and I just like went, oh. And it kind of felt bad, right? This was before like this was like right about when seasonals, so like obviously I just like turned to getting better at the game, but I crave that sense of progression. I really like collecting things, and I'm not saying like LOR shouldn't be free to play because that's like one of the best aspects of LOR.
Yeah.
Yeah, the game is free.
I'm just saying like I miss that. I miss acquiring things and working up to it.
I think that speaks to like we were talking about battle passes. The battle pass is fucking amazing, and I love it. If we had like one of those every month, like
so
the other
cool.
option would be
The
we all
dopamine.
play the game like too
A
much,
lot,
like
too
a
much. We
lot
play
more
it too
than
much,
most
yeah.
people, right? So like I'm gonna finish my battle pass like at the end of this week, right?
Mhm.
And like
Yeah.
I don't want it to be longer. I don't want it to be harder because then for like the casual player, like it sucks. But if we just got more of them, I think that'd be really cool.
Did Champion Mastery ever go anywhere? Bro, Champion Mastery never went anywhere in League. It's not going to go anywhere in LOR either.
I think something,
Honestly,
It exists.
something like yeah, I think something cool that like what Hearthstone did, they completely reworked their reward system. I don't know if any of you actually know what it is. I
Yeah.
barely know what it's like either, but there's a lot of like positive feedback from it. It goes like really long, and you get rewards here and there. Obviously, their game needs to give out a little bit more rewards, just how it kind of works. But they have like a really good like system right now, and something that I guess I'll look at maybe.
Yeah, but I mean,
I
the
believe
Arsenal system is better than it
Our
was.
system's good.
I mean,
Like,
the
our
LOR
system
system
has a
is
lot of
really good
stuff.
too.
But I
Wait,
think
wait,
the RR
wait,
system
let's
is
stop.
really good.
Let's not suck off Hearthstone
but,
just
like-
too quickly. Come on, they
Yeah,
ring
come on.
people for their
No,
money.
They
No,
they
but
fucked
they're-
up a lot of
I mean,
different
compared
aspects.
to what they had originally,
Sure,
like,
sure.
they're I mean, like I was playing for a little bit some time ago, and I was pleasantly surprised by it. Like good amount of like cards here, there, and stuff like that. And,
Again,
just
though, like-
progression-wise.
For how long we've been playing the game and how much we play the game, like we're definitely in like the upper percentage. So like keep in mind if we're ever talking about like, I wish the game was a little bit less free to play friendly. It's like
Yeah.
People are
I
sitting there
don't-
trying to get champions like, bro,
Yeah.
what? And I understand
And it-
that, like, yeah, that does
No,
not.
like-
This is like first world problems
when,
for sure.
No, when you go to the Reddit subreddit, it's like show off like your horde of like wild cards. Whereas you go to like any other like Reddit, it's like
I
look at you
have no
poor
problems
losers.
with that being like I have no problem with that being something we do. Like I'm like
Sure.
I
Yeah,
don't like
there's still plenty
it's,
of people
it's
like
not
people who,
really a problem.
Still plenty
there are
of people.
people who I know who are my friends, like who just don't have all the stuff yet, and they often like will either spend money or they'll tell me, "Yeah, I'd love to play that deck. I just can't right now."
Yeah.
Like I don't
Like
think
JO1.
it's that. I don't think it's that 100% thing, right? That's all I'm saying.
I have people.
75.
I have people like, in my chat at the beginning of like every expansion, they're like, "Oh, what should I craft? I don't have a ton to craft." It's like, don't craft anything.
Yeah.
Don't craft anything.
Yeah,
wait
just
a
wait.
week. You're
Just
gonna
wait.
be so
You're
sad.
gonna have it all. Yeah. That
Or,
is generally
like-
what happens is people jump in and they're like, bro, I'm new. I don't have a lot. What should I prioritize? Because they come from like Hearthstone or Arena or something, right? And you're like, just pick a deck, play it for a week. Pick a deck you think you could play for a week. Play that. And then by the end of the week, you can pick 2 more decks. Like,
Yeah.
it's just kind of how it works. It's so
It's not
fast.
quite that good, but it is quite fast.
Mhm.
I
Maybe
think
like
when
2
you
weeks.
Faster
first
than
start out,
anything else.
you get like one deck a week, and then like there's some like acceleration points, like especially on like the battle pass. You're getting like more. Sometimes you go through a drought where like none of the champions you already have are in the deck that you want, so it's kind of like 2 weeks. But yeah, no, it's really nice. But at the same time, like I have a lot of people. There are even people that I coach that I'm like, they're talking about like these decks that they've had for the last couple of seasons that like kind of got edged out. And they're like, "Oh, I can't really just like get the new decks." And it's like, I feel you, but I don't know.
Imagine telling that to a Magic Arena player. You're like, yeah, bro,
Jeez,
dude, I gotta wait like 2 weeks
Magic
before I
Arena.
can build the tier 1 decks. They're like, did you not get paid yet?
That's not your
Like-
Be- Before this is over, do you guys want to dunk on TFT?
Oh.
We're already
that-
ruining TFT.
That
right?
wouldn't be
Just
fair,
the
yeah, because
existence
we're
of
already
it.
ruining TFT. Because
Yeah,
we're
it
getting all the
exists.
resources.
According to this one person we know of, is
Soju,
they're
yeah.
ruining TFT.
For
Yeah.
I just wanted to
Context.
meme
Right.
about it a little bit. Yeah.
A TFT pro player streamer put out a tweet longer where they were talking about how they don't feel like Riot gives TFT enough support, especially like their competitive scene. They're like they had to patch the same day as us, and they're bitching about the meta and everything. But at the end of this, long TFT tweet longer, they take this random shot at LOR. They're like, it's because Riot's just giving too much support to LOR. It's
We
like,
caught
what
a
the
That's
fuck?
stray
1/10
for
of the
no
over.
reason.
Excuse me? Riot's doing what now?
It's so funny. Yeah, we're sitting there
That's
like,
hilarious.
please give us a balance patch. And he's like, fucking LOR players.
I think like what Soju meant in terms of that is like when you look at like our prize pool compared to like with like worlds and all these seasonals and stuff, like it is a lot better than TFT. Like TFT is actually shit.
It's bad.
Like in
It's
terms
bad.
of competitive, like it is not like it is,
Their
it is not
competitive
good.
scene is kind of bad. I follow a lot of TFT. It's one of the main esports that I watch.
Right.
And I find at it. And I actually watch Soju and enjoy the content. But yeah,
Yeah.
their competitive scenes. And in this tweet longer, there was actually legit like concerns and legit things that he was talking
Yeah,
about.
no, I
It's just a
agree.
random shot that he took at
Yeah.
a scene that you probably don't know
I
much
was-
about.
I was
unless
so
you're just
with it.
looking at the numbers.
The whole
It was
tweet.
very random.
So
It was
with
very
it, and then he just hit us with just popped one off at the LOR community, and I was like,
Yeah.
God damn. But
It
like,
is really
but
funny.
he kind of has a point. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, no, I
okay,
agree.
I think where he went wrong is like evaluating Twitch numbers with the health of the game or whatever, like how much you support a game in
we've been
in
over
the
that.
in his post is like equal to how much Twitch numbers the game has.
Yeah.
But like Twitch, like TFT competitive is kind of a joke, and it is way more successful on Twitch than LOR. Do I think you should ditch LOR to give TFT more support? Like obviously not, but
Right.
yeah, I think what's going on at TFT might mirror a bit what's happening with LOR, where
Yeah, no,
Riot
no,
is
no.
focusing less on competitive and more on where most of the players are, which is casual.
Imagine like a Valorant pro just comes on and bro, our price pool sucked. Fucking TFT is still sucking. It's just punching down all the way.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. But like, yeah, I mean, it's kind of rough. Like, there's a lot of things I like about the TFT circuit. Like, they have a lot more events than we do, and like, honestly, I would rather have more events, even though like their pricing is way too bad. so like it's not even worth playing the tournaments. But like I would like to have more, like official stuff.
I think it'd be
I don't
cool
know.
if Riot like took some of the grassroots scenes and like sort of gave their support behind them. Like they don't need to run every single thing, but if they liked
Well,
what Runeterra Academy is doing, and it's like, hey, we want to support this, we want to like signal boost this. I think
right.
that'd be
Well,
cool.
that's what they do in
Riot-backed
TFT.
events.
That's what they do in TFT. Like all their events are run through like Giant Slayer. Before it was run through like even like TL, C9, and like a bunch of different orgs and stuff would run TFT events.
Yeah, Liquid,
So, like,
right? Did a ton.
Yeah, Liquid did
Yeah,
a
they-
ton.
That was a fun times. I was playing in those tournaments.
But yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know.
we don't have that here, which would be nice to have.
The Riot sponsored events, so I'm not super familiar with like the competitive scene for TFT, but like the scenes or the Riot sponsored events I see seem like super casual focus, where like they bring on like some big streamers and like some big personalities, and they like play this small little like Swiss or whatever like group stage. I don't know what the fuck the TFT format looks like, and like that's it. It doesn't seem like there's like a huge competitive support. So, and I get them being frustrated, but like,
Competitive
Why are we
TFT
catching
seems so
strays?
hard to watch. I mean, I don't watch it, so I'm ignorant here. But like, it doesn't
Yes.
sound compelling.
It's kind of the same problem as card games. Like it is something that card games are kind of hard to watch, and TFTs like it's essentially a draft, right? It's essentially a card game in disguise. It's just a different type of card games. Like other battler always said, like out of any other genre of games, the most similarities with card game.
Yeah.
And it has bigger viewership and bigger player base. So it's still okay, but it's not as watchable as like a MOBA or like a shooting game or a fighting game.
Yeah.
And
How do
it won't ever be. I don't think there's just like no way around. Like you need to know, you need to play the game to enjoy streams on it. Tournaments of it.
like I've played a lot of TFT. Like I've played a ton of TFT. I was like top 200 when it first came out, right? Like I've played a ton of TFT. But like, I know how to follow like, LCS. I can follow that. I can follow like card games. I can follow Valorant. How the fuck do you follow TFT where there's like 8 people in the lobby that are like all doing different things? How are you like creating a narrative? Do you just like follow one person? How
That's
does
pretty
it
much what
work
they do,
from like a
yeah.
competitive perspective?
It's a little bit of that. Yeah, they're following like 2 or 3, like they're focusing 2 or 3 players, and then the touch, like the caster are pretty good in TFT. I feel like every time, like everybody I think is pretty good, and they just like sometimes touch on the player that's doing bad. Is like, oh, that's their way out, and then like maybe don't touch on him again. And they have a lot of things to talk about. It's just everything. There's a lot of jargon that you need to know, and everything is like,
You can see their comps, right?
yeah, you see their comps. You're like, okay, what is their outs here? When are they gonna level? When are they gonna roll?
trying to
And they can
build
talk about
or-
all of that, or just like item decisions. There's a lot to talk about, and perhaps even more than just like watching a random card game match. But I think the caster makes all the difference. A good caster in TFT, it's very enjoyable.
It does seem like a very easy game to watch someone stream, just not a very easy
Just
game to
one
watch.
guy
a tournament. Just,
perspective,
yeah,
yeah.
like I would throw on a TFT stream because it's some guy
Yeah.
talking. It's kind of slow, so like I don't have to be fully paying attention to it, right? And they just get to like hang out. It's kind of like a card game, but it's a little slower to happen, and I don't really need to know what's happening like a card game, right? Like
Right.
in order to really get why this play was super sick, you have to know a lot of things, right? But like you can watch Jinx just fuck up their opponent's board and go like,
Yeah.
that's tight, right? Like it
Or
has
just be
that
like,
appeal to it.
You hit Jinx on
Yeah.
like level 7. That's really funny.
Mhm.
3-star Tom Kench, oh my god, that's so sick. And like that's sick no matter what. And I don't even have to know what's going on.
The fight. I think that the people core misunderstanding is it's not about the fights themselves, and
Yeah,
like,
of course not.
caster
Yeah.
do cast the fight because like that's a 30-second period where nothing else is happening, but the fights are not relevant. It's like the player decision, the RNG before that, the RNG, the fight itself, it's really whatever, and nobody really cares about it.
I think
I watch a ton of
That's-
TFT content, but I don't play the game at all myself. Like, I think it's actually like really relaxing to watch. Even though I don't really know what's going on.
It's like a
I
perfect
really
second
like it.
monitor stream, I feel like.
Yeah, it's great.
from like a casting perspective, I feel like it's the type of thing that's really carried by casters in terms of needing to like, create like a narrative that somebody can follow. And I think that like a game that's very similar would be like if you guys ever watched competitive PUBG, like probably not. It wasn't
No, I
like
have
super
not.
great, but like from like a macro level, it relied a lot on the casters like giving you, like the story, the narrative of like, this is the area they're fighting for. These are people are fighting for this. They really need to get through this area, and trying to like create the narrative. And I feel like TFT is very similar in that like you need like the casters to like sort of hold your hand through it because there's like so much to take in.
2 points. First point, I think the way casters approach making narratives is so important in how like a game is watchable. Like in League, I would watch League when my friends would throw it on and I'd have no idea what was going on. But if the caster said, okay, watch out for this player because he's on Rise and Rise scales really hard once he gets this item and he's only 1,000 gold away. So they're going to send him over there to go get this item. And this team's going to try to get this dragon objective, right, in the meantime because they know he's off farming before he hits the spike. And I'm like, okay, now I have something to watch for, right? They're like, okay, in this team fight, watch the Jinx. They're going to try to keep the enemy away from her. And I'm like, okay, right? Like, and that's exciting. And like, you could do that with TFT as well. You could be like, this person is down. They're at 30, but they're playing the long game, right? They really need this last character. It's a 5-star character, whatever, 5 gold, whatever the fuck they call it. 5 gold character to like really pop off. And now I have something to watch for. And like, that's kind of exciting to me.
It's hard to do that in card games, right?
Exactly.
Watch out for their top deck. It might be Papercraft Dragon, or it might be Inventive Chemist.
Especially when you already know what they have, right? You're like, okay, well, if this person has Papercraft, which they do, in 20 seconds they're gonna decide to attach it and they're gonna win the game.
I'm actually way more interested in blind content, like in casting with you don't know what the opponent has, because I feel like that's like a lot more like intense or interesting than like.
Yeah.
Especially because
it's actually easier to appreciate the thought process when you don't know.
When you don't know, because you're like, oh, but what if they have sharp sight, right? But like, you could sit there and you look at the hands and you go, okay, this and this and this and this. I know what's gonna happen now, right? Unless something wild happens. But point two, really quick, want to sneak this in here. Point two, I think like you're saying, TFT is a lot more watchable. There's things going on. League is more watchable. There's things going on. I think the way to solve it for card games is already been solved. I think you guys are missing the juggernaut that is WWE Supercard.
Oh, God.
Where the cards themselves wrestle.
Hi. Where's my kick Majiin button? Hold up.
He runs
I forgot he's hosting.
They're probably
so when you have it's simple. When you have your first LAN event, so when you have like the player cams, right? But at the beginning of the game, you just show them wrestling for the first minute.
Okay.
that will decide who gets the attack.
It's like chess boxing, but it's
listen.
LOR
I think we just haven't been in the perfect meta for viewership. Look, the perfect meta is one where everyone plays Swain, and every game you see the Swain animation play twice. If I see the Swain animation twice every game, that's enough dopamine to watch the stream.
That is a great one. Yeah, that and like the Jace's Shock Blast. I love that one with the hammer. Donk. It's one of my favorites as well.
There's
All
too
right,
much
guys.
decision making in LOR, and like it's too hard to follow. I think that if everybody just played Lurk, and then you just flip a coin on who has odds at the beginning, I think that's like the best approach.
I think you might be right. Yeah. All right.
Oh, and
that's about it for me. Yeah. Oh, they're attacking on one. Ah!
Let's go.
This is so good.
roadmap stuff soon.
I gotta say, while we're on this topic, I think what was really funny, we were watching the Runeterra Academy stream, and like Aikado has to cast poor Shodox playing Infinite, and he's sitting there for like 10-15 minutes, and he's just like trying to talk about something, and I'm like, what? Just talk about like what you had for dinner or something.
Yeah, you just go on topic.
Really.
No, but
that's what like Cass and Blevins do. They just like zone out and just talk about something else.
I would do that in that spot.
I was trying to keep people engaged with it. I feel like once people start going off on the Infinite, they're like, "Oh, fuck this guy, fuck this deck." It's like, no, he played this last turn so incredibly well to get to this point. Oh my god. Yeah, no, it's a little silly sometimes. Is there anything else we want to go over?
No, I'm good.
Nah, I think
We're good.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That's good.
Peace.
All right,
We
thank
did
you
it.
guys.
Do check out like I guess the new tournament series like
the
Paid
daily.
Entry. I was gonna play it today, but podcast.
I was also gonna play it today, but podcast.
But I'll play it tomorrow.
I will be in it tomorrow. Wait, maybe I won't be. I have to go get my
Wait.
taxes done.
So now that Trevor's playing, you just drop.
Yeah, no one else. But yeah, I was like, oh, I'll be. Oh, you're gonna be there. I'll catch the next one. It's fine.
We should all just like rotate, like one of us each day of the week. You know, that way we don't run into each other. We don't have to worry about Jordan just taking down every fucking tournament.
Yeah, you won. You won the
Jordan,
one
you get
yesterday.
Mondays, and that's it, okay?
Okay, sounds
I get the Wednesday then.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming out.
All right. Peace
I'll
out,
catch you
guys.
guys
This was
on the
fun.
flip side.
Serious.
Peace out, everybody.
Peace.